Greetings, ghouls and goblins. It's October, and this year I was feeling particularly spooky and bored. In the spirit of the scary season, I've gone ahead and written a few original scary stories coming straight from my brain for you, the listener, to enjoy. You aren't going to find these stories anywhere else, so sit back and enjoy this little treat, you creature. This first story is called The Lot. I hope you like it. This morning I woke up to the sound of soft rain dancing on the roof of my car, sliding down every side of my metal enclosure. I lied curled up in the driver's seat, knees tucked to my chest, shivering from the chill of the morning air leaking into my poorly insulated shelter. I wanted to get out and stretch my legs, but it wasn't worth getting all wet, so I made use of what little room I had and decided it was good enough until I got to the gas station. I could hardly see out through the window because of the curtain of rain coming down, and the parking lot was shrouded in darkness. It was almost like looking out the window of a submarine at the bottom of the ocean. I pulled out my phone and checked the time. It was 5:14 a.m. Fumbling through a cluttered passenger seat, I find the keys and stick them in the ignition. The dashboard lights up a rainbow of various warnings and cautionary symbols, and the car coughs to life, shivering in the rain. The fuel gauge was nearing empty, but I could definitely make it to the gas station no problem. I turned on the windshield wipers and they pulled back the veil to reveal a dark, rainy parking lot with a small lake forming in one corner. My single working headlight illuminated a small portion of the quiet woods that surrounded the vacant lot, bringing a small circle of color to an otherwise unsaturated backdrop. I put the car in reverse and started to back out of my spot when a sudden jolt from the back and a loud thud stopped me in my tracks. I whipped around to peer out the back window, and all I saw was the red glow of my brake lights and a curtain of water. I threw the car in park and jumped out into the rain. Running to the back of the car, I expected to see something like a raccoon, dog, or God forbid I hit a person, but as I got there, I found nothing. I looked around frantically for a possible victim, but it was just dark and the rain was starting to come down even harder. I inspected the back of the car, noticing no new dents, just the same old ones I had put there already. Over the tree line I could see the sun trying to peek through, ultimately being snuffed out by the swirling dark clouds. I was drenched now, and seeing as there was no immediate harm done to anyone or anything, it was time to get back in the car. I pulled myself in, shivering harder than before now. I flipped the heater on the full blast, not caring for the wretched squeals and hums it would make, mustering up any kind of warmth into the cabin. I sat for a moment trying to replay the last 2 minutes in my head. I definitely hit something, or my car is making a really expensive sound now in the back. Both options made me nauseous. I put the car back into reverse and carefully watched out the back window to make sure I didn't hit anything, craning my already sore neck over the tattered seat vigilantly. Great, no invisible walls. Turning forward once more, my attention goes to my one spotlight in the dark, coming in and out of view from dull wiper blades in a veil of rain. Successfully, I navigate out of the parking lot and pull onto the twisting pavement that cuts through the dense, drenched woods that would eventually spill out onto the main road. The little amount of heat lets me unclench my jaw and relax my shoulders back some. Ahead of me, I noticed something that wasn't there when I pulled in here last night. A shut gate. I cursed under my breath and weighed my options. I looked down at the fuel gauge, and the red line is about to meet with the E, and a chime coming from the dashboard is a secondary reminder to my predicament. Fuel level low shines through the dark. My headlight shines on an obstacle in my way, and I look to where the gate meets the pole jutting from the ground. I can see a chain tightly pulling the two together and bound with a padlock, and my heart sinks. Turning the key, the car falls dark and silent, being consumed by the rain and dark woods that surround it. My head falls forward, landing on the steering wheel in aggravation. Well, I guess the pissed-off park worker will discover me sitting here in a few hours, and I'll get to explain why I'm on the wrong side of the fence. I sit back and close my eyes, listening to the rain dance on the roof of my car once more. It was dancing much harder now. The rain was pounding down on metal, demanding entrance. I wouldn't be surprised if it broke through. The sound of it was deafening, like a metal drum being hit rapidly and rhythmically on and on. I leapt up to a loud snap, interrupting the rain's ensemble coming from the dark on the other side of my window. My head turned immediately to the direction of the sound, but I felt blind, going off only what I could hear. Another snap, louder, closer. Another, followed after the rustling of wet leaves and bramble. The rain took back over, and its rhythmic tapping was again the only sound piercing through the dark. I peered out into the abyss, trying to get a glimpse of whatever was coming my way, waiting for it to produce a deer or some animal from the thicket. I thought back to earlier when I thought I hit something that must have been a dumbass deer walking through the parking lot and ran off after I bumped it. I chuckled to myself. Great, he's back for revenge. But nothing ever came from the dark. The curtain of rain only showed me a distorted version of the dark woods outside, and if something was there, I probably couldn't see it anyways. Deciding this was probably a stressful enough time to warrant cracking into my emergency pack of cigarettes, I sorted through the center console and retrieved a small, worn, almost crumpled up box and lighter. Pulling one of the hand-rolled cigarettes from the pack and bringing it to my lips, I found myself still watching out the window into the wavy, wet darkness. I kept my gaze whilst I reached for my lighter. Striking the lighter with my thumb, a flame erupted from it, briefly turning the car into a lantern in the night. As the light kissed the tree line, two white eyes met my gaze and blinked out quickly, blending back into the dark. Every hair on my body stood at attention, and I briefly lost the ability to breathe. The unlit cigarette fell from my lips, and I raised the light again, quickly striking it and holding the flame as long as I could, peering out the window. The amber light flickering and dancing with the rain barely lit up the car, but I could still see the reflection of the lights in its eyes out there, staring right back at me. I snapped out of its gaze as the lighter singed my thumb, going out once again and plunging me into darkness. Trying to switch it to my other hand, I dropped the lighter as it tumbles in between the seat and the console. Panicking, I grab my phone, and the screen lights up with a low battery warning. I swipe it away, trying to get to the flashlight, but the battery is too low to use. Turning to my last resort, I switched the car on, and it struggled to come to life. Every alarm on the dashboard warning me of some impending automotive failure or low of fluid. I throw it in reverse and start backing up down the road, too afraid to look ahead at what my headlight may show me if I look. The car rolls backwards through the rain, retracing its last steps down the road. The final low fuel warning chimes and announces the end of our journey. I instinctively look ahead to address the sound, and I catch a glimpse of something in the headlight a few feet down the road before the car falls silent for the final time and joins in the abyss. I thought it was a dog at first from the shape of its head, but it was too tall to be a dog, and it couldn't have been a person. People don't look like that. My heart began to compete with the sound of rain pounding on the car for who could be the most loud and fast. I flipped open the glove box and retrieved a box cutter and clenched it in my hand, looking ahead to where I saw it. The sun began to win back territory in the sky, and the mask of darkness was slowly being pulled from apart. My eyes adjusted, and all the color was coming back to the world around the car, being mixed together from the rain still falling down, my glass barrier meshing everything together into a mess of indistinguishable, familiar shapes. Ahead of the car, whatever I had seen wasn't there anymore. All I could make out was the road ahead of me, the gate, and the trees on the other side. I turned around to see out the back window and froze speechless, not daring to move in fear of provocation. Two gray, sunken-in eyes met mine through raindrops and glass. The car shifted back as it mounted the trunk and began to climb onto the car. The car shook with every step taken, and I saw what looked like a hoof drag across the window, disappearing from sight. I could feel it right above me. A matching pair of long, bony fingers draped each window and then came to grip the tops of the doors. The car started rocking violently back and forth, all the while the thing screamed and wailed into the night. I shrunk into my seat, trying to make myself as small as possible, hoping it wouldn't smash in the windows and drag me through. I whimpered as it began beating its head into the window over and over. I dared one glance up at my intruder as his face met the glass. I saw pale skin pulled tight over a skull it didn't fit, dripping with black liquid seeping through the new crack forming in the window. We met eyes again. The pounding and shaking stopped as it kept its eyes pressed against the blood-stained glass. the crack starting to splinter and a spider web out as it pressed its way through, shards of glass tearing away illegitimate skin, revealing muscle and teeth. I kicked open the door and fell out of the car, trying to pull myself together and run, failing desperately, the smell of hot blood and copper filling my nostrils. I bolted ahead towards the gate that kept me locked in here with it. I heard glass shatter behind me, and the scream it let out shook me to my core. Pure adrenaline got me over the chain-link fence, and I didn't dare look back. I vaulted over and fell into a deep puddle, coating me in mud. I pulled myself up and kept moving fast away from the gate, bounding away from the nightmare, still screaming behind me, almost harmonizing with my now wailing car alarm. I hardly looked over my shoulder when I noticed I was in the middle of the main road, and a new loud noise took over and a blinding light flashed in my eyes, getting bigger and bigger. Before I could discern what the noise was, I was flying backwards, and the sound of rain was replaced with a high-pitched ringing. Hey you made it to the end of the video. Good job. You sat through all of that. I'm proud of you. I literally wrote that up in a day, so you let me know what you think of that down in the comments below. Trust me, I can take it. But other than that, I'm probably going to drop another couple scary stories here before Halloween hits, and yeah, that's about it. Word.